Our next guest is a renowned DJ and a one-time member of the legendary Boogie Down Productions. He was on the front lines of the birth of hip-hop, and he's still spinning to this day.
Here to discuss his storied career behind the turntables and his passion for photography is DJ D-Nice. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. You made me sound old, though.
No.
Legendary doesn't always say old.
You still look very
you've done a lot.
No, I'm just teasing. No, I'm happy to have been a part of hip-hop early on and still here right now.
You've had an incredible career, worked with
Yes.
everybody, all the major names. What has been the highlight of your career?
The highlight of my career was I played the inaugural ball for the president, and that was great. But I did the kids' ball with the first lady, and the Secret Service came and got me, and they said, the first lady wants to take a picture with you. And I walked into the room, and she was like, D-Nice. And that was it for me. I was like, whoa.
Michelle Obama?
Yes.
Said D-Nice.
She was like, D-Nice.
So she not only said your name, she said it with swag.
She said it with, like she was a rap fan, like old school D-Nice fan. But yeah, it was great though.
Wow.
It was great.
That is incredible.
And now
Congratulations.
That's so awesome. Now we hear you're a photographer. You are a photographer.
Yes.
When did you discover your passion for being behind the camera?
I was never comfortable in front of the camera. I always loved being a producer, a music producer. You know, I found Kid Rock and worked with legendary artists, of course, BDP, Heavy D. But I fell in love with photography when I was being photographed by Gordon Parks.
Yes,
and
the legendary.
The legendary Gordon Parks. And to watch him at that age, and at that time he was probably in his 80s, early 80s, and to see that he was still passionate about what he was doing, I knew I wanted to love whatever it was that I was doing the same way that he did. And then I ended up like sitting next to him at a show, a Paul Robeson show, like Avery Brooks was starring, and Mr. Parks was sitting next to me, and during the intermission I was able to just talk to him and talk about photography and about life, and I just knew, like, at that point, like, I was gonna pursue a career in photography.
What did he say?
Advice did he give you?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. What did he say to you? Like, what did Gordon Parks say?
Yeah.
But you gotta remember, at the time when he was shooting for Life magazine, I mean,
Yes.
he was the only black photographer doing fashion, and it was just about always being passionate about what you do and just being honest and being true to who you are. Yeah. And with my images, you know, I photographed a lot of people, and I always try to show the human side of them, you know, and show people the way I see them, you know. So if you look at a picture of Puff, you may see him with a bottle of Ciroc, but if you look at a photograph that I captured of him, it's going to be slightly different, you know, where it's like a real conversation, real moment, and I'm just able to capture it because they feel comfortable. So I take advantage of that.
How do you go about choosing your subjects?
They actually come to me. I don't really choose anything. You know, I do a lot of photo shoots. You know, I've done campaigns for Reebok and Hennessy, and I've done America's Next Top Model. That stuff is cool, but that's not what I love. What I love is just documenting the culture, whether it's hip hop or just music or entertainment in general, and just documenting it. And for, you know, 20 years from now, I want people, you're not going to remember the album covers anymore. One, we don't have anything tangible. What you will
Where's the artwork?
Yeah, you're not going to remember
and the liner
that
notes,
anymore.
you know, yeah.
But what you will remember is some of the great shots and great moments, you know, that people like James Van Der Zee captured, or Jim Marshall in the 70s. Like, you remember that stuff. You're not going to remember what's going on right now, like the paparazzi who was on a red carpet. So I tend to always shoot where I want it to represent something 20 years from now.
Well, let's go all the way back. You got your start with the seminal hip-hop group, Boogie Down Productions, BDP, alongside legends KRS-One and Scott L.A. Rock.
Yeah.
It was the early days of hip-hop. Can you just take us back to that time and what that must have been like at the beginning?
Man, I mean, back then, it was, aside from being part of the culture, you know, I was always a fan. I was the youngest member in the group. You know, our first record came out, it was called South Bronx, and those guys were much older than I was at the time. I was 15 and they were in their mid-20s. And, you know, I was just taking it all in. Like, I was this young kid with a hit record and traveling the world. And it was just great. The music was honest. You know, we made records. It wasn't about cars, and I don't knock what people are doing. You know, they rap about what they know. For us, it was just a different time. We weren't that far from like the civil rights era, so you know, we were still dealing with issues, which we are dealing with now anyway. But we were dealing with issues, and it's reflected in the music. You know, I mean, I produced a record when I was 18 years old called Self Destruction, sold 1 million copies. I mean, I was a young kid, and I didn't know that was, I was doing something so historic,
Profound.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, and we talked about what was going on in our communities, and we were able to raise a lot of money for the National Urban League.
That's right.
And now we have this record that lives on forever, and it's just great, So I try to, when I meet younger kids, try to inspire them and tell them part of my story, to just never give up. I've always done everything that I loved, and I'm still here doing it.
We see
awesome.
what's going on in the news with Ferguson, Eric Garner case, Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, the list goes on and on. Do you think artists have a responsibility to use their platform to help bring about social change?
Absolutely. I mean, you're asking someone from BDP. I mean, we talked about everything, I mean, Chuck D and these guys are like, these are my friends, and we would talk about, I mean, we had meetings back then where we would sit in someone's office and talk about what was going on in the community, and
Though it's Questlove who says today that hip-hop may not be doing enough, just as it relates to what's going on now. Do you agree, or do you think there's more that will be
hip-hop
done?
isn't doing enough. Hip-hop was the voice of the inner city. I mean, Grandmaster Flash, all of these records, the message, it was songs about what was going on, and these guys aren't really doing enough, and maybe they just don't know how to.
Yeah.
In all fairness, I remember when we came out and not everyone loved our music. Not every hip hop artist loved our music. Those guys were the generation before us were used to doing something different. So sometimes these guys, they feel like they're somewhat alienated because there's this separation between old school and new school, and old school really don't rock with new school. I feel like I'm in a pretty unique position because I'm friends with Grandmaster Flash. I'm also friends with T.I.
They all respect you.
Because I don't ask for anything. I'm here, I'm doing what I love, and they reach out, hey, I want you involved with this event. I mean, I came out in 1986, and 2 nights ago, I'm rocking with Pharrell in Hollywood for his event, and it's, I love the new people, I love what they represent. I wish some of them would talk about, just find the balance in music. We all like to have fun in the clubs, and you may not want to have fun to like a record that's like, an uplifting record.
Yeah.
We don't party to like, Marvin Gaye records.
Right.
We party, we want beats. So I wish that people would just find a balance. That's all.
All right, let's talk about the Borgata, New Year's Eve.
Yeah, New
You're
Year's
spinning there, and you're spinning at a ping pong tournament. Tell us more.
So the ping pong tournament is that happens next Wednesday here in New York City.
Okay.
At a Metropolitan Pavilion, and I've been a part of this organization. It's called Top Spin, where we raise money for, for education for, inner city kids. I'm always a part of something with
Do
the
you
kids.
play ping pong?
I'm terrible. I'm terrible. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even a part of the tournament. Okay. I'll play a couple of rounds, but then I'm back to spinning music.
And then the Atlantic City party.
Atlantic City, New Year's Eve, Borgata. That's it's always nice. I mean, I must be okay. They booked me in like March to do their New Year's Eve event.
Nice.
So and I've been playing at the Borgata for a number of years, so I'm excited about that.
Well, I've said it to you time and time again, there's nothing like a D-Nice
No
party.
doubt.
So thank
Nothing.
you so much.
I love seeing you out.
Because I like to get down. Thank you so
Party
much for being
animal.
here.
Party animal.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
you.
you're watching Arise Entertainment 360.